Hello and welcome to DTV, your source for news and information about the Knox County Democratic Party. I'm Michael Davis, and I'll be your host for today's program segment with Justin Davis, running for State House of Representatives, District 14. We are very happy to have Justin back with us on DTV today and hear about his campaign, and would like to thank you for being with us today, Justin. How are things going?
Thanks for having me. Like everyone else, I'm just kind of hanging in there day to day. So a little challenging. I like to get out, but we got to be safe.
Right. So how has this impacted the beginning of your campaign? I've spoken to lots of candidates at this point, and generally the consensus is that no one ever expected to start something like this in the middle of a pandemic. There are enough troubles at normal times. So how has it affected your campaign and your race for the State House?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I have to agree with all the other candidates. It's tough. Certainly not what we expected getting into this. You kind of know, and especially since I ran in 18, I know it's a lot of hard work. But yeah, trying to work around a pandemic has made it extra tough. It's really slowed things down. I was hoping to be out knocking on doors and meeting with voters face to face. So it's really kind of killed that, obviously, and it's really hurt fundraising. So yeah, it's a big challenge, but we're going to face it head on.
Okay. So what would you like our voters to know about your background and some of the things that have motivated you to seek this office?
I'm a native of East Tennessee, so I always want to see our state do better and be the best. And when I ran in 18, when I ran in 18, I was talking about the need for Medicaid expansion, the Republican attack on our public education system, workers' rights. And in 2020, those issues still exist. I mean, we've not seen any change. We've not seen any improvements. So I decided to take up that fight again, go out there and work for the working class, go out there and fight for public education, and be sure that Tennesseans have the health care that they need and they deserve.
Okay. So have you always envisioned yourself running for this kind of position, or is this, I know that it's not a recent effort for you, having run in 2018, but was this something that you always saw for yourself in the future?
Honestly, no. I mean, I've always had an interest in politics and as a kid, was big into history. But I always kind of envisioned myself more behind the scenes or working for nonprofits. I did always want to do something that was beneficial to my community, beneficial to our country, but never envisioned actually running for public office. In 2018, I ran out of frustration because after the Parkland shootings, there was issues with gun control. And I said then that nothing would ever happen, no changes would take place because of the gun lobby, and decided to get involved and, fight the fight. Like I said, coming back around to 2020, we're just not seeing any changes. So I decided after a little push from a few others to step back in, throw my hat in the ring and go after Zachary. Because he's been among the worst. He's been among the most extreme on the GOP side. So, we want to be sure that we bring a little decency back to the district and back to the state house. So I decided to go ahead and throw my name in there one more time and, see if we can finally win this flip District 14.
Right. You bring up some great points there, and it is kind of a sad statement that the same things that you were running on your platform in 2018 are still problems in 2020, with probably just more severity and more stemming problems added to them. One of those being the school voucher system there, and general issues going on with education. What is your position on the school voucher system, particularly with Governor Lee's new plan that is, although currently stymied by lower courts, but is in appeal and still may be in effect one day? What are your viewpoints on that and how it helps or hurts Tennessee education?
I've been against vouchers from the beginning. I think they are an attack on public education. It was something that we discussed in the 2018 election because we kind of saw the writing on the wall. We knew that, you know, if the TNGOP held the state house and the governorship, that they would definitely be making that push, and they obviously did. Um, Fortunately, yes, right now the courts are trying to fight this, and we got a big win recently. But we all know that the Republicans are going to keep fighting this, keep pushing. Uh, my opponent, Zachary, was the swing vote. He initially come out and said that vouchers were a bad plan for Tennessee. It was a bad bill, and he voted against it. And after a recess in the vote, he come back and swung his vote to vote in favor for it. So obviously there was some backroom dealing there. Um, that's not what we want here in District 14. We want some honesty and some integrity in the office. Um, and, you know, there was a lot of teachers and educators who come out against this vote and were extremely displeased with Zachary's actions. And, you know, I got a lot of encouragement to run after that because they knew my stance on public education. I think that we definitely have to defend our public education system, support our teachers, support our students. And Zachary sold us out.
Okay. And on that school voucher system, do you believe that these vouchers, that the proponents of it maybe have any points about how they provide any school choice to students to escape schools that aren't meeting standard? And what is the problem there, and how would you address it?
I think that, you know, a lot of people see this as an opportunity to send their child to a private school when in effect, usually those vouchers don't cover the full expense of those private schools. Those schools often get to pick and choose the students that they want to accept. And it's just a flawed system because, as I said, it's pulling the money out of our public education system. I've got, you know, no issues with private schools. I feel like if people can afford to send their, you know, their child there and that's what they want to do, they should be able to. But I'm against pulling those funding or the funding from the public education system to fund a private school. I just don't think it's fair to our students and our educators. We want a level playing ground, and if anything, I think we need to be doing more to support our public education system, more funding, doing more to support our teachers. We are among the you know, the lowest funded states in the country for public education. And I would like to see us get ranked in the top 10 over the next few years. I think we could do that. I think we could be paying our teachers a lot more. We're seeing them spend hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars out of pocket each school year, and they're already among the lowest paid in the country. So we've got a lot to improve on, and hopefully we can elect a few good elected officials, get them in there who will actually fight for public education.
Okay. You brought up the Medicaid expansion point previously there. I want to ask you a little bit about that. How do you, a lot of Tennesseans in the general public seem to be on board with this idea and think that it would be a good one. How do you think a coalition of legislators who would actually vote to expand Medicaid could be put together if the Republicans retain a supermajority in the House and the executive branch, which seems the likelihood even for this next term? And what do you see your role in that as being if you're elected?
I think once elected, like as you said, we have to build a coalition. We have to build a coalition with people who believe strongly that Tennesseans need to be insured. They need to have access to care. I think we need to take it to the people. I feel like a majority of citizens would like to see healthcare expansion. We're seeing our tax dollars, sent to the federal government. They're not coming back to work for Tennesseans. And I just don't think that's right. I feel like we've just not made a good case. A lot of voters simply don't understand the issue. And so I think that comes down to us. And once elected, we need to go out and explain these issues better, drive our point home and get voters behind us and supporting us. And then going out and talking to, their state house officials, their state senators to get this passed. And, the power is really in the hands of the voters.
Mhm. On those same lines with the legislature, Tennessee has been at the time the butt of some jokes with our legislature and bills and enacted laws, and then sometimes even the conduct of some of our elected officials. What damage do you see this doing to Tennessee on a national scale? And how do we encourage bright, talented young people to stay in Tennessee?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And, I always hate seeing the jokes made about Tennessee. Uh, it's sad, really, because we've got a really great state with a lot of great people, caring people. And so, it's really bad when we have a few elected leaders who make us look so terrible
Mhm.
on the national platform. So, it's just one of those things that we got to deal with. We got to get rid of those individuals. We've seen a lot of silly bills passed, more on the table. And I said that in 2018, that if Republicans were able to hold the majority, that they would feel emboldened to go out and try and pass every silly piece of legislation that they've been sitting on. And sure enough, we've seen that happen. So really, the best thing that we can do is go out there and elect smart people, sensitive people who have a little integrity, and not make us look so foolish.
Okay. Well, want to give you, in the few minutes that we've got left, a little bit of time to tell our voters how they can get in touch with you, contact your campaign, maybe even volunteer for you.
Yeah, and we can always use the help, especially right now, making phone calls since we're not able to get out and knock doors. And you can reach the campaign by going to votejustindavis.com. You can look us up on Facebook at Justin Davis Politics. We'd love to have people join the team and help us get elected and flip District 14.
Okay. Well, great. And anything else that you would like to let our voters know about yourself or your campaign in the couple of minutes that we have left?
I would just encourage people to, get out here and help our Democratic candidates. We've got another amazing slate of candidates, and right now it's really tough on all of us because we're campaigning during a pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
I would say make a donation to help everyone out, to keep these campaigns running. Join a phone bank. You can do it from your home. Usually, those are open phone banks, so you can do them, anytime that's available to you. And so we encourage you to get involved, help us out. Hopefully this pandemic will pass and we can all get together again and, fight for change.
Right. Yeah. It seems like the online and various multimedia approaches have become much more important to campaigns nowadays. Have you set up a game plan for that for your own campaign, for virtual campaigning or phone banking?
Definitely have virtual phone banking going. We've kept that open. I keep trying to be sure that the link gets posted and refreshed from time to time. Trying to be active on social media where we can. Just looking for new, innovative ways to get the message out.
Okay. Well, we hope that any voters that are interested in your campaign definitely reach out to you. And for all of our other candidates, we've got several important races going on this term, from the county level all the way up to the state and federal level. Just a crucial election year, and we hope that people, one, turn out, and two, vote for Democrats that are going to get into our state legislature and hopefully our Congress, and also hopefully the presidency, to help bring some much needed change, especially highlighted by this COVID-19 crisis and pandemic. Justin, thank you so much for being here with us today. We wish you a lot of luck in your campaign, and hope that those volunteers make it to you.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for doing this and taking the time. We appreciate it.
Well, you're very welcome. And we'd like to thank you, our viewers, as always, for keeping up with DTV during these times. We will be back to see you next time. I'm Michael Davis, your host for today's segment. Thank you so much, and we will see you soon.